idea. I will find him!
You're a breed. Men are brave.
It's not about deserve. It's about what you believe.
Could've just peed on him.
Like brunch. Like, what is brunch?
The story of the Defiance is well known.
What, we some kind of suicide squad?
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
Martha!
Hello everyone and welcome back to this week's Enter the SnyderVerse. I'm Nathan, I'm one of your hosts today. I'm also joined by...
I'm Kyle. I am the Greek god Apollo and I am furious.
Goodness.
Which Greek
That's
god are
pantheon. I'm Nike, I'm the woman.
you? Oh, which one's... You're like the god of victory, I think?
Yeah, She got wicked trainers though. She got wicked trainers.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Kyle, we're here this week to look at Shazam! Fury of the Gods 2023, the follow-up to 2019's Shazam?
Yes. I did need to issue a correction on last week because we did pronounce the title wrong. It's not Shazam! Fury of the Gods, it's Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Yep, yeah, entirely you're correct. And apologise to our deafened audience now.
I think they should have added an exclamation mark to the end of Fury of the Gods as well, so it's Shazam! Fury of the Gods, you know?
You're really leaning in on those emphases. Is it like an accent in certain the writings of like French or Spanish?
Yeah,
Okay,
do you not think that would have been better?
I think it makes it sound more kind of triumphant, whereas they want this movie to seem real and sinister because Black Adam came out.
Oh yeah, this has a lot of Black Adam energy to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally, 100%. So, Kyle, we've David F. Sandberg returning to direct this after the success of the first film.
Yes.
Good choice. You happy he came back to do this?
I mean, are we just going to get into this?
I mean, unless you've got anything else you'd like to say unrelated to the film we're here to talk about, go for it.
No, let's... Okay, I think this movie is a solid 5 out of 10. That, like...
Really?
Yeah, it's not amazing, it's not good, it's not terribly bad, it's just a straight middle-of-the-road movie. To me, it feels like there's a lot less passion behind this one than there was the first one. Shazam 1 is one of the best movies we've watched. It was really funny and really clever, and I really enjoyed it. This movie is so just whatever.
As we mentioned, the terrorists have taken over.
The terrorists taking... This movie was a bomb, right?
Oh, yeah. Every DC movie after Black Adam was a bomb.
Yes, well, this is the zombie era, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first film to release in the we know this is ending era.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily why it bombed, because again, I don't think regular people pay attention to that sort of thing.
So I don't think regular people do either. But this was big news that this was all ending.
True.
And I don't believe they put much marketing into this film either.
No, this was we have it, we may as well try and make some money off of it.
Yeah, this was kind of one of those weird edge case films where how do you justify, oh, this is pre-The Flash that was going to be the big continuity reset? Because even now, when this film came out, there was confusion about if James Gunn's DCU is going to be hard reset or if it's going to be Flashpoint is still canon and just resets everything after it, you know?
And somehow there's still that confusion.
There is still that confusion. I think it has been cleared up, but confusion just comes from people not caring to read into it anymore because they've just run out of fucks to give. Which
fair.
Is fair. Yeah, very fair. So, this film really came out in this was the shock, this was the jolt, this was the, oh, okay, we're going to go see this, I guess? It doesn't matter. Because Marvel...
Was this movie delayed?
It was delayed. I can't remember. It probably was. Most DC films feel like they get delayed.
They mention in this movie that it's been 2 years since the first movie, when in reality it's been 4 years since the first movie.
I mean,
so
COVID probably held everything up. Keep in mind that, everything's made like a year and a half out from its actual release date, and there's reshoots, and there's lockdowns, and there's somebody tested positive for COVID, so you got to shut down production for 2 weeks. It's all those kinds of things,
Because I do remember you saying when this movie first came out that this movie came out too late, and I think I agree with that in watching it.
Oh, yeah.
Because looking back, Shazam was 10 episodes ago. That's a long time between sequels in terms of, these kind of movies.
Yeah, a lot has happened between them. I think Shazam 2 took too long getting into production. I think a lot of that's got to do with Black Adam kind of rushing into the fray, to be honest with you. Not to say that the Black Adam project didn't have a legitimate right to come into existence in The Rock's mind.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the Adam project with Ryan Reynolds now, but it's The Rock, the Black Adam project.
Yeah. Not to say that film didn't have a right to exist, of course, if people wanted it to, but if you think
The Rock wanted it to.
The Rock wanted, he certainly wanted it to. But if you, as a film studio, have limited windows to release a film every year, like they're like, okay, we can put out 6 this year, right? 6 films, not all of which are DC, but we can put out 6. And then where you would put in Shazam, you're substituting it for a Shazam-like character.
Yeah.
And then you get around to actually releasing the film that you probably always wanted to release in the first place. Because the Rock project was this whole different thing, you know? This definitely feels like a more traditional follow-up.
Yes.
Listen, I didn't really say what I thought of it. I quite liked this film. I think it's quite similar to how me and you both felt about Black Adam. Except you'd like this film more than you like Black Adam.
I disliked Black Adam. I didn't dislike this movie. I struggle to have strong emotions about it, hence the 5 out of 10. You know, like that's right in the middle, perfectly balanced.
I struggle to have strong emotions about this film as well. But the emotions that I do muster are positive. It felt like a team that were trying their darndest, probably in difficult circumstances. I think that everyone just looks great in it, and I think everyone... No, I don't think anyone's phoning it in. Did you think anyone was phoning it in this film?
I don't know if he's phoning it in, but Zachary Levi is less funny in this movie than he was in the first movie.
He's a little bit more serious, isn't he?
I don't know if it's more serious. It's just, for me, a lot of the jokes in this movie just didn't land. And I don't know if that's a fact of... It's so hard to tell with humour, right? Because the one that I'm thinking of in particular is early in the movie, they all rush out to save a bridge. And they do the classic... They do the classic joke where it's like, all right, guys, we need to save this bridge. And then it smash cuts to the bridge in ruins, right?
Very topical for 2024.
Yes, well, quite. I did have questions about that bridge. But for whatever reason, that hard cut, it didn't work for me because, like, I don't know. This is because humor is so hard to analyse, but I don't know if it was like timing was off or it was too obvious or... The bridge was obviously already going to collapse. It wasn't a surprise that the bridge collapsed because the bridge was already collapsing. So just something about that joke just did not land for me. Yeah, and there's a lot of moments like that in the movie.
Something to do with the way that bit was shot, because it is just like a helicopter crane shot of the bridge in the water. It's difficult to kind of shoot that in a comedic way. I think they tried. This film isn't as funny. I have experienced this sometimes though, where a film comes out and it's sort of like better than maybe you thought it was going to be, in this case the first Shazam movie, and then they do a sequel that's kind of more of the same, but because it's just more of the same, you go, is that all this is? And the novelty's gone, and you're kind of over it a little bit.
Maybe that's it. Like the novelty of Zachary Levi acting like a kid just isn't, it's not enough to carry a second movie.
Yeah, and my first time experiencing this was with Deadpool 2, actually. An R-rated superhero movie where he swears and he breaks the fourth wall and stuff. This is really, cool. And Deadpool 1's great. And Deadpool 2 isn't bad either, but it's not as good as the first Deadpool movie, in my opinion. There is a lot of the same kind of comedy from the first film. And once you've experienced that first movie, you have a few years to digest it and process what that movie was, and you go back into the second one and it's just the same thing again, you're like, okay. Well... with comedy, I think comedy's always good as a bit. It's not good as a basis for longevity. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
I didn't never laugh in this movie. There was some jokes that got me. The wizard on Gal Gadot's body, I felt was quite a funny visual.
Yeah,
the Jimon Honsu, star of this movie, as far as I'm concerned.
He was really good in this movie.
I love him in every scene he's in this movie. I think he died in the last movie, but I don't care.
You don't care. I mean, he shows up in Black Adam briefly as well, doesn't he? It's weird that he had the whole bit in the DC extended universe. The first bit of this film that got me was when Shazam, Zachary Levi, speaking to someone who you assume is a therapist, and he goes, "You know, I'm a pediatrician, right?" And it's just funny seeing big, silly Zachary Levi speaking to a children's doctor. But then, as he says that he's a pediatrician, he points over to like a corner of toys in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the haunted Annabelle dolls from the Conjuring franchise. David F. Sandberg his film that he done before the first Shazam was an Annabelle movie. And one of the dolls is the actual Annabelle doll from the movies. And all these like Conjuring stories are based on real case files of possessions. Even if you don't believe that those things are real, the case files and the events were real. And the other doll is the actual doll that the Annabelle doll is supposedly based on. It's like a Raggedy Ann doll, because the doll in the Annabelle movies is purposefully really scary because it's a horror movie, but the actual possessed doll just looked like a normal doll. So for this funny bit in Shazam Fury of the Gods, they used both dolls and sat in the corner, and it's just a fun little bit. I like film-making Easter eggs that isn't the Wilhelm scream, Kyle. That's what I like.
Yeah, see, these are all over my head because I don't watch horror movies.
Yeah, but also a bit of cross-franchise synergy though, Kyle, because Walter Hamada, before he became the head of DC, was the head of Warner Brothers horror division. He was friends with like James Wan and all that, because James Wan, also a horror guy that moved into DC for Aquaman.
Yeah.
Horror directors are really good if you just skill them up, because to make horror movies, you got to be quick and cheap.
Apparently so. See, the thing with that scene is I didn't find it particularly funny because that's one of the hundreds and hundreds of threads in this movie where I'm like, hey, that's what this movie could be about, but then the movie just never decides to be about any of them. Because that's the one where it's like, oh, Billy, he has imposter syndrome, right? Is that what this movie's about? Not really.
Not really.
And there's a bunch of stuff like that. There's like, oh, the Shazam family, they're not working well together as a team. Is that what the movie's about? Not really, because by the end of the movie, it's just Billy doing stuff on his own again.
What do you think this film's about?
Nothing.
So I think it's about letting go.
Is it?
Yes, so you see it in reflections with, obviously, Billy's having issues with everyone doing their own thing, going off to college.
Don't get me wrong, that's one of the threads for sure, but I'm not sure it really coalesces.
I'll tell you where I see it reflected in the film, right? And you see Freddy wanting to go off and do his own thing, and Billy trying to hold everything together. Helen Mirren and the young actress playing Thena,
Rachel
both
Ziegler.
of them, thank you. Both of them are villains, and they hold true to wanting revenge for their father, but then they realise that they need to let go of this because look at what they're bringing around the end of a planet in the name of this thing. And there's one that holds true, who's your big dragon riding villain, Lucy Liu, you know. But they let go of their hatred and their issues with what has been done to them historically to help Shazam, or to help Freddy in the case of Athena. And it's about letting go and doing what you've got to do for the greater good, kind of. Because maybe not in their case, the greater good. Well, I guess they're saving the day, but definitely in Shazam's case where he self-sacrifices. You can have issues with if self-sacrifice is what the meaning of greater good is, but that's the route this film does take, and I think there is supposed to be commentary about letting go of the things that you are just so wrapped up in that you're blinded by.
I'll say yes, but also there's other themes in the movie that contradict that theme. Like, there's the running thread of, I say running thread, it's mentioned twice in the movie, of Billy, he won't call his adopted mum, right? This is the thing in the movie, which is kind of at odds with the whole he's too attached to his family thing. Because surely, like, that's like the opposite of him not being attached enough, that he's not willing to accept this lady as his mum.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with that. That's
there's what was the other one in my head? Oh god, I had another one, and what was my other example? Crap. Oh, the powers. They reveal that their powers are like stolen, basically.
Yes.
But it's never like a point of contention that they need to like let go of the powers. It's like, nah, you get the powers back at the end, of course.
I do have that in my notes as well, that this film raises the issue that the Shazam wizards robbed the powers of the gods. And the villains are, grieved by this. They want to get the powers back. But the film never really ponders that this is a bit of an ethical dilemma. You could say at least Black Adam brought up to pay at least lip service to colonialism.
There's the scene
like,
between Billy and Helen Mirren where it's like, she's like, how would you feel if your neighbour picked up that treasure or whatever? But
then just kept it.
Yeah. But then the movie never like comes back around on that.
It does sort of just pose the question and drop it. Yeah, nothing comes full circle on that. I suppose by that point it's because Helen Mirren decides, oh no, you're a nut job, Lucy Liu. We can't. Can I just say, it's quite strange Helen Mirren's in this.
It's very strange, isn't it? She seems too like posh for a movie like this. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she does the Fast and the Furious films to great.
That's true. I guess.
Applaud. You know, she's playing that Cockney gangster, and that's almost kind of self-aware though.
Yeah, she's Jason Statham's mum in those movies, right?
Yeah. But she tries to play it so straight in this film, where you would think that
she's a dame, right?
Dame Helen Mirren? I don't know. Probably. If she isn't, I would give her one.
I'm going to check this. I have to check
Please
this.
Please
do. She is a dame.
There you go. Dame Helen Mirren. Of course she is. Why wouldn't she be? Great woman. But I also kind of remember the marketing campaign for this film was really subdued. And
yes,
people were always talking about when are we getting the first trailer for Shazam Fury of the Gods, because this was during the Black Adam fiasco. And there was kind of nothing. There was not nothing, but it was like, you weren't well into the swing of marketing material, you know?
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, Helen Mirren's there. Like, what the hell's Helen Mirren doing in this? We had no idea. No idea at all, Kyle. And then the trailers come out and you see what it is. The Daughters of Atlas. I don't know if I'd ever heard of prior to this film.
No, I mean, that's the case for most comic book villains, though.
My Greek god pantheon is somewhat lacking.
I don't know if these are I mean, there probably are. The names sound familiar to me, but I think they're pretty obscure as far as they're not like the big ones in the Greek pantheon.
They are Wonder Woman level. They're like children of gods.
Well, yes. Atlas is the god who holds up the sky. I know that much, but yeah.
This is not a Greek podcast episode. A Greek god podcast episode. As interesting as that is.
I mean, very strange of you to bring in Wonder Woman. I don't know why you do that. I mean,
no, there's absolutely no reason to bring Wonder Woman.
Of course not,
just this is Demon Honshu as Wonder Woman. So, but I do know that at the start of this film, when the Daughters of Atlas go to pick up the staff, Wonder Woman might have wanted to take a little look at this already.
Yeah, or Dr.
Prince
Fate, or any kind of like mystical character.
You would have thought this is something they would be kind of interested in, because keep in mind, Diana Prince in Batman vs Superman famously knew that a sword on display in like a black market auction or something was not a fake one, and the real one was hanging above some dictator's bed.
or maybe Amanda Waller might be interested in this magical staff. I don't know.
Yeah.
How did it end up in Greece?
It's culture.
That American tour guide brought it with him.
I hate that American tour guide so much. I've been to Greece.
He's
place.
one of that. He's that guy. He's in a bunch of stuff. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. It just felt like very old American Central casting, you know. Like they couldn't find a Greek actor to do this, you know. So they thought we'll get a comedian to do a bit part. Kyle, Calypso's whispering into your ear and getting you to do horrific stuff is quite a spooky power.
Yeah, I was surprised that doesn't come up later in the movie. She kind of like turns them into psychic zombies.
Yeah.
Where they start infecting each other.
She gets a teacher to run off the roof of a building.
Yes, that was unnecessarily dark for this movie, in my opinion.
I think it was in keeping with the power set, though.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, I don't know, it felt a bit like... That guy's in one previous scene where he kind of stops the comically evil villain to make a little cameo appearance in this movie.
Yeah.
But,
from beating up Freddy. And they're like, yeah, I spent a lot of time in that bin too. Is that when I was at school, Freddy? And your buddy in the audience go, oh, he's just like us. And then he dies and we all go, oh, no. It's the set-up false emotion for when they kill him, Kyle.
Yeah. Freddy gets a lot of play in this movie. How do you feel about that?
I think he's a lot more likeable in this film.
Kind of...
I think the because he's a little bit older, obviously, as they all are. It's always difficult when you cast late stage prepubescent teens in your film.
Yeah, the disconnect between Zachary Levi and Asher Angel in this movie is so much worse.
Yeah,
I think that's why they put Asher Angel in so little of the movie. There's only like 4 scenes where he's actually in kid form.
Yeah, well, I think Freddie Freeman is quite good in this movie. I do enjoy him. However, what I want to actually bring up is we have a recast in this film, Kyle.
Yes, well, technically.
Yeah, well, technically. Grace Caroline Curry, who played Mary in the first movie as the child set, is now old enough to where when she becomes Shazam super version, she doesn't need to be recast. She can just be herself. So she gets a lot of play in this movie. Like, for her, that's quite a good career step up, because now she's in both sides of the film as opposed to just one. You would think that how far away is Billy from that? He's about to turn 18.
It's very strange that this 18-year-old turns into a 40-year-old man as his peak physical form. I don't know, that's weird, right?
I mean, if he is just about to turn 18 and Mary was 18 in the first movie but also still need to be recast, in terms of age gates, it does make sense that he would still turn into someone else. Yeah, but like next movie, he's just turning into Asher Angel, right? In Shazam 3, he should just turn into Asher Angel, yeah, of course, but Zachary Levi is who they're selling this film on. I do think that turning yourself into a peak physical specimen and being a famous actor is quite funny, but when the child actor gets older, it stops making sense. It's a real... They should have got this movie out like a year after Shazam. Yeah, to cash in on the kids, yeah. They should have run right through with it, absolutely. Now, I remember when James Gunn was announced to be taking over in the subsequent months, Zachary Levi said he had nothing to worry about and he was very happy with the decision. Uh-huh. So people were speculating that maybe that's because Zachary Levi knew something that we didn't about his continuation at DC. And so the same way, Jason Momoa seemed quite happy, even though it seems that he won't be Aquaman, but we're not sure. Yeah. But, it seems like all of these people just get contradictory information themselves also. So I suspect so, but something that I noted for this film, Kyle, is the producer from this film was Peter Safran, who is James Gunn's co-head of DC Studios with. He's the one that doesn't get any of the attention. Yeah, he gets none of the attention, and he's the businessman as well. So he's the one that James Gunn had to fight with to get budgets approved, He's like James Gunn's Chancellor of the Exchequer. Yeah. And if great James cultural reference. Thank you very much. If James Gunn is able to say, I'm keeping John Cena and co., Peter Safran, I think, could quite rightly have also equal leverage to say, I want to keep some of my guys. Yes, but would they want to, is the question. Yes, things are always in flux. I think by now they probably know what they're doing, but they probably didn't back when Zachary Levi gave these initial statements. They might want to. This is a likeable enough cast. Zachary Levi might be a little bit wacky on Twitter. I think it's mainly the age thing is the issue for that one, because it just gets harder and more unbelievable the older both Asher Angel gets and Zachary Levi gets. You think you just age down Billy Batts and recast the kid, but not recast Zachary Levi? I mean, they could, but he's getting up there, in this movie, I feel like his age has started to show a little bit. Oh yeah, it certainly is. He starts to look like he's got a lot of spray tan on, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Yeah, that was a common comment when the second film had initially released. I remember that. What do you think of his outfit, Kyle? They got suit upgrades for this movie. A lot more texture. It's a lot more for the eyes to kind of feast on, as opposed to just flat silicone molding. It's fine. I like the silly silicone molding. I think that was in keeping with the movie. I really miss the big silly hoods. I love the big silly hoods. The hood was pretty nice. I'll tell you what, Kel, though, until you mentioned the hood, I completely forgot about the hood. the cape is much simpler in this movie. In the first movie, it's got the 2-layered frilly bit and the hoods. It's less accurate this time. I do kind of miss the big frilly cape, I think. I just like the textured design in this film. I do still like that all of them have their own variation on the costume. I think that's fun. Yes, except Mary, who's just red Captain Marvel lady. And a skirt. But she has a skirt, so I guess that's different. Yeah. That's very different indeed. But yeah, I'm very happy to keep the Shazam family dynamic. I like that they've got a code word for when they need to go save the day. Boy, it sure is a lovely day in Philadelphia, Kyle. My favourite part of this scene was when the little girl, whose name I can't remember right now, goes, "Oh, we're off to fight crime." Darla, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're off to fight crime. I like it when she comes home with a kitten, and they're like, "Is that a kitten?" All right, but one of my favourite lines actually from that interaction is when they're like, where are those gosh darn kids? Because they've just seen they're watching the Shazam family in Superform getting interviewed on the TV, making a mess of it. Yes. And they're like, where are those kids? And then right on cue, they all walk in and Freddy's like, what's wrong with these kids? They're probably taking selfies while vaping on TikTok, am I right? And that's just the quintessential I don't get kids, but like it's a funny meta commentary sequence.
Yeah.
Just a buzzword.
Yeah. Billy makes a Khaleesi joke later in the movie, and I'm like, what a very topical Billy. Game of Thrones ended like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think this is like just before House of the Dragon came out, but before.
Yeah, this is in that sweet period where Game of Thrones was dead to everyone because of season 8. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. House of the Dragon did come out in 2023, I believe. But
yeah, but this is like January 2023 this came out, right?
Oh, yeah, right, okay, so this would have been before that, definitely before that. And House of the Dragon is simply flawless television. However, there is no Khaleesi in it. There's no Mother of Dragons, not to my memory anyway. What do we think of Shazam HQ, Kyle? The Seven Deadly Sins have had a bit of a makeover.
I enjoy it. I have questions about how they got all of that stuff there. I assume they stole it, so...
They shouldn't have stolen it.
Because they've got a big flat screen in there. Like, did they buy that? I don't think they did. They're kids.
They got given it as a thank you for saving their technology TV show.
That goes into another thread that this movie's not really about, which is the Philadelphia don't really like the Shazam family.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a background detail in this movie that they never do anything with.
Yeah, they don't do much with that. It just is posed. Like, why introduce it, to be honest with you? Because it's not like, you know...
No, there's the scene...
If they were a real issue, Superman would have killed them.
Yeah, and they don't have like a J. Jonah Jameson character who's like, we got to get rid of this menace in Philadelphia.
This film feels quite crowded. I would be interested if they were able to, if they even had a version of that they wanted to do.
But there's the scene where he's sitting and he's got his Philly cheesesteak, and the guy's like, "Hey, when are you going to deal with this dome business?"
It's like, "Oh, I'm here to deal with the dome." Actually, and he's like, "Yeah, right."
But it's not like a point. It's just a scene. It's just a scene that happens.
I think it's for later on when we see that guy again when they are saving the day. He can be like, "Yeah, Shazam! Yeah, I was wrong about you, Shazam."
And the original Billy Batson makes a little cameo.
Oh, so he does. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, he says, "Good job, Captain Marvel."
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, I like it when they pay homage to things that are a little bit dicey that maybe they couldn't call him Captain Marvel. You know.
I think it'd be funny if they ended this movie just calling him Captain Marvel. It's like, yeah, fuck it, we can do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're rebooting, yeah. There's a lot of things I wish this film had landed on but didn't, you know. What do we think of Steve the Pen, Kyle? I
like Steve the Pen. I think it's kind of contrived the way they find that library where it's like Pedro, it's Pedro, right, is his name?
Pedro.
Yeah, he just knows where it is, and he's never told anyone else that it's there, even though it's like in the main room. It's like literally off the main room where they all sit. I don't know how he would ever get in there without anyone noticing.
They don't all go into Shazam HQ together, I presume, because Eugene spends a lot of time in there himself.
I guess there's definitely certain different levels of care that the Shazam family are paid to. It's like Billy's at the top, then Freddy, then Mary probably, then Darla, then Pedro, and then Eugene is at the bottom. He has very little to do in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they in a way that the Avengers movies don't, this movie struggles to give each of the heroes ample screen time.
Yes.
I think that's because they're all kind of...
The same?
This is all maybe connections to your Halo 5 video, Kyle. They're all just avatar extensions of Billy.
Yeah.
Like, they're almost like mirrors for him to have a conversation with himself.
Yeah, and they don't have to be written that way, but yeah, there is several scenes, especially with Mary, where it's like, I'm just going to explain to you what's going on in your character arc, Billy.
Yeah.
It's just that's the peak of exposition writing there. It's like you're about to turn 18, Billy. You've got to do something about that.
The government's going to stop paying our parents to keep us in the foster home, and they're going to kick you out because they hate you.
That's another thing. It's like, that's never even... I don't know why he even thinks that, because Mary is still living there.
Because they can fund one kid without government funding, but they can't fund two. It turns out they bought the house anyway, so none of this was going to be an issue. That was a fun line when they find out they're all superheroes, and he's like, is that why the house keeps getting struck by lightning?
Yeah, the parents are good. I like the parents. I'm glad they get to be a part of the finale of this movie.
Yeah, when they're driving around in the battle wagon, this is just...
Yeah, I will say,
like, I'm just trying to get into the spirit of things.
I think the second half of this movie is stronger than the first half. I think the first half is generally quite dull.
It feels like we run up in the third act quite early, though, like with an hour remaining, and we're already flying around.
Yes, the third act is like an hour long, yeah, but...
I think it's paced quite well, though.
Yeah, no, I was surprised when it first happened, because when they were sneaking into Mount Olympus, which I assume is what that is.
Possibly.
It looks, I'm going to call it Mount Olympus because it's the top of a mountain. When they're all sneaking in there, I'm like, okay, we're building up to the climax of the movie here, right? And then it turns out there's an hour of movie left.
Yeah, pretty much. I quite like the villain lair in Mount Olympus, Kyle. Like the Daughters
I like
of
it more
Atlas.
than the villains.
Yeah, well, I quite like the villains. The Daughter of Atlas is a big brute henchman, the big bronze brutes. I thought they were very big and muscly, scary monsters.
I'll correct that. I like Helen Mirren. I wish Helen Mirren was the main villain, because she has this really sort of calm, collected, like, I'm doing the right thing kind of attitude. I love her conversation with Billy.
She always seems like a threat.
She always seems like a threat. Lucy Liu is the worst. She's just like, I'm evil.
She feels like Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers.
She does. She feels like a Power Rangers villain. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bit over the top.
I'll get you next time, Billy.
Do you wonder if maybe Helen Mirren was supposed to be the main villain? She says, I'm not riding a fucking CGI dragon.
I'll put on the silly costume, but I'm not riding on a green blob that you're going to make a dragon later.
Yeah. It's like, I'll wear your fucking outfit, but I'm not getting on a saddle.
I love this headcanon that Helen Mirren's just constantly swearing.
Yeah, I'm projecting her Fast and the Furious character onto her.
Yeah,
I don't know if she swears in Fast and the Furious, I can't remember, but she's just like Cockney gangster, a bit edgy.
Yeah, I like Helen Mirren. I like her powers. I think they're cool. She has like the power of the elements.
She can make a big dome.
Rachel Ziegler, Anthea, is kind of a weird element of the movie, because
she has the Doctor Strange mod pack installed.
She has the Doctor Strange mod pack. Yeah, it's a filter that goes into After Effects, I assume, that makes everything go.
It makes the ground rotate like a chessboard, and the walls come into place, and everything just clicks. It's like when Hagrid summons Diagon Alley in Harry Potter, and the bricks all separate.
But like, okay, I think I already knew this going into the movie. I think this was spoiled for me. But even if I didn't, as soon as she starts like being super nice to Freddy, you're like, oh, she's evil. It's like, I'm sorry, Freddie, but a girl that's pretty is not hitting on you. I'm sorry.
You know what I enjoyed though, Kyle? They didn't keep that dangling for too long, because they end up on the rooftop of that school pretty quickly.
Yes.
And then they find the book, and there's a third sister, and you see the picture, and then they're on the roof, and she's speaking to Big Super Bit Freddy. And she's like, I just don't want him to come back, he's going to get hurt. And like, good, okay, we're not like playing it, like, there could have easily been a 5-minute scene there where the audience knows what's up, but Freddy stupidly doesn't, and there's just like tension building where the audience is like squirming in their pants waiting for the reveal. But we didn't waste time with that. We just got right through it, and I would have really appreciated the film for that.
After that, though, her character is just kind of, I don't know, she's not that interesting, I'll be honest.
There's a reason that they take away her powers, and she just wanders around Philadelphia.
Yeah, and she genuinely does like Freddy, for some reason.
Shocked. she's just a nice person. She's going to be playing Snow White, Kyle. She's a really
She
nice
is going
person.
to be playing Snow White, and we all hate her for that, obviously.
Apparently I've been told to hate her anyway.
Yeah, she's the worst. She's the epitome of woke propaganda, or whatever they say about her.
Specifically because of her in Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Yeah, she hates fans.
Frankly, too right. I hate fans too.
So do I. Yeah, fans suck. You hear that? You all suck.
Hear that? Snow White for president.
Yeah, Freddy.
I just like him more in this movie because he doesn't have you're so selfish, Billy, when it's really him that's being selfish.
Yeah,
that really
I feel like
alienates me in the first Shazam movie. Like, I really don't have time for it.
I feel like he never acknowledges the fact that he was being selfish, really, though. It just sort of works out badly for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably in this movie he's also a bit still selfish, because after Billy self-sacrifices, he starts calling his dead body an asshole.
That's just the emotion taking over, Nathan.
That's just the emotion taking over.
He gets his powers back by holding his crutch up to the staff. How does that work? Is the crutch a part of him?
Spiritually, yes, Kyle.
Okay.
Because when those bullies snap his crutch in the school hallway, that's like quite a personal attack to make. Like, there's a lot of you in that crutch for how it gets you around and aids you in your life.
I'm I thought crutches were stronger than that. Can you just bend a crutch with a knee?
I don't know with a knee, but they are just aluminium, I believe. Like they're not made of metal. Yeah, I mean they're very light material as well, which is deliberate. You know,
I guess that's true. Yeah, around. I just feel like they would be more resistant to just a bully bending them over the knee.
Yeah,
again, those bullies just comically evil.
I've never tried, but I do probably agree with you. Yeah, they're comically evil bullies. At least this time they weren't driving a car towards a school kid.
They didn't hit him with a car. Yes.
Yeah, this whole movie's like a toned down version of the first one.
Well, toned down in some ways, I guess. That guy did walk off the roof.
He did walk off the roof, yes. But the school bullies didn't make him do it.
No, that's true. But yeah, so I did point out there's like a quick scene where we see that Freddy is off doing like superhero stuff on his own. Yeah. And he puts in the music mix. And when he Shazams, his crutch disappears, but his headphones don't disappear.
Headphones are part of the superhero experience, Kyle.
Yes, but like where do their clothes and his crutch go? Are they in like a pocket dimension while maybe he's in Shazam form?
Maybe when you say Shazam, you get to keep the things you want to keep. Like, where's his phone? Where's the Bluetooth signal to his earpods connecting from?
I think they're wires.
Oh, they're wired. Goodness.
So I guess I think his phone is just sort of popped behind his belt. I don't know.
It must be. Maybe they have pockets in those Shazam outfits that we don't know about.
Captain Every Power.
They have bags of holding.
They have bags of holding. Okay,
that's what they have. There you go. There is your in-canon explanation.
Yeah. Other than Shazam, like the Shazam family, they never really get their. Some of them get hero moments, but like for the last half of the movie, none of them have powers anymore. Which I don't dislike on principle because like they are kids and you're allowed to show them being kids. That's fine. But as I say, there is no balance. Like that's the part where Darla kind of tames the unicorns.
Yeah, I mentioned here in my notes that that's a hell of a talent to find the unicorn spawn point.
Well, they established that all the monsters are scared of unicorns, so they go into the spot where there's no monsters, right? That's fine. You know what I wish? So there's a great line by Jimon Honsu because he has all the great lines where it's like the unicorns do not love you.
Yeah.
Which just great. Just his deadly seriousness in every scene I love.
Yeah, he's not phoning in at all. He's playing everything straight.
But they come out and they're like these big, aggressive, mean-looking unicorns. They look like the Scott Rods logo. Plug, plug, plug.
They do look the Scott Rods logo. I hadn't considered that. I read in your notes because you watched it before me that you said that, but I kind of forgot about it when I was watching it. But yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I think they're cowards. I think it should have come out and all the lines are the same and it comes out and then it's this like bright, sparkly, lovable unicorn that has rainbow trails and it scares off all the monsters. I think that would have been a funnier visual, Nathan.
I think that would have been too unserious.
She tames it with Skittles. We're not going serious
that's product placement, Kyle, right? These are
because they never say Skittles. They say taste the rainbow, but they don't say Skittles.
No, they do. They do say Skittles.
Do they?
Yeah, so they do. They say taste the Skittles after she throws the Skittles, and then they start riding away. It was Mary who says it.
Oh, she says we're going to need more Skittles. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Yeah, because more unicorns are starting to appear. It's very strange product placement though, because Darla uses them earlier in the film. She goes to give Helen Mirren some Skittles when she's got them captured in the temple in Shazam HQ, which is very strange. Of course she wanted to be captured. I knew she wanted to be captured when I saw her in there. I was like, these people don't fucking know what they're doing. But yeah, this whole movie we get Skittles and brand integration, and I don't see a Skittles logo anywhere. Very impressive, frankly. We're good at hiding I think that's quite a clever way to hide the brand insert.
Did they have any like Skittles tie-in merch? I don't think they did. I don't remember seeing Skittles packs with the Shazam people on it.
Zachary Levi in the front. No, yeah. I don't remember that either.
Missed opportunities.
But what I would say about the mythical creatures are they all look a bit like how we're a fan of the 7 Deadly Sins in the first film, all having unique looks instead of just being henchmen. I like that all the mythical creatures also had unique, like a Minotaur looked like a Minotaur and Cyclops. They all had. I
enjoyed this too. When you see like the Cyclops and it's like a very classic like 70s sci-fi looking, not 70s fantasy looking Cyclops.
Yeah, so I was a fan of that, and I think that's also what they're trying to do with the unicorns. They weren't trying to go for My Little Pony unicorns. They weren't going for a Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, I know. I think it would have been funnier if they were. And also,
I think there is some subversion there, seeing this little adorable child and her family saving the day, riding these horrific gothic unicorns when she's like wearing like a pink cardigan.
I guess they show them like riding it, and then the next time we cut to them, they've wrangled up all the monsters in the square, and it's like, oh, there's not that much monsters actually.
And then they're like start to run away from the dome shield shrinking in, and they all turn to leaves when they're destroyed. Which I quite like that, I should note. I thought it's probably practical, better than turning to dust, more visually interesting, and it's lush and it's green, and it's symbolic of rebirth, Kyle.
I like the visuals of the tree apocalypse.
Yeah, the big roots everywhere, yeah.
I think that's fun. This movie is anti-climate change. The nature is bad, fuck nature.
Nature is bad, that's the one takeaway from this.
Okay, I had a quick. So she grows that tree with the golden apple, right? Did they establish that golden apple earlier in the movie?
It's in Steve's library, and it's black.
Yeah, I know that. Like, Billy is like playing around with it when they're writing the letter. But is I remember seeing that in that scene. It's like, am I supposed to know what he's playing with?
They mention earlier in the film that the Daughters of Atlas like guard the apples. It's during the same reveal where you find out they have a third sister, Thena, and they show you a picture of her.
I kind of zoned out of that scene because it's the most boring form of exposition ever. They're literally reading it out of a book.
Well, during that moment, they do mention something about golden apples. I don't know quite how there's a blackened golden apple in the library. I can't remember that, but I think I probably zoned out a bit too, but I remember that being a part of exposition that took place during that scene.
Right, okay.
So she's just shown up there to pick up an apple. That's what she wanted to be captured for. Why does she know there's an apple there? I don't know.
Yeah. Also, they have a door to the lair, in their lair.
Yeah, it's
so she could have just gone at any time. Yeah.
Well,
so
only heroes can summon the portal into the base, apparently. The unworthy cannot. But anyone, when you're in there, anyone can leave it. It's just not everyone can enter it.
Is that the same for the doors, though?
I believe so.
I thought that was just like, you can open the portal from anywhere, because they like open the portal from like a porta-john, and that becomes a bit later.
A bit, yeah.
But it seems like the Hall of Doors, because Anathea, she leads the wizard and Freddy to that door and says, this is your escape, and then they don't end up using it. But maybe it seems like that would have worked.
Maybe it was just any generic door would have done, you know? She led them to the first door she could find. She was like, right, okay, go through this door here. Because if any door opened the way, and with Eugene mapping all the doors, and there's monsters and horrific things through all of those doors, the Shazam HQ would just be overrun by now.
But you see, like, there's something bashing on that door when he comes out of one of them.
Ah, that's true.
So those doors must just be, like, open portals.
Yeah, they must just be open portals. I think the film doesn't want us to think about it like that.
I think that's the answer, yes.
Because why is the door not opening? Why did they lock the door when they went through it? All Eugene done was put a sticky label on it.
Well, it's a magic door. I assume it has some special magic locks.
That stops it. Okay, that's why it's safe. That's why it's safe, Kyle. There you go. Special magic locks. I think
the Hall of Doors is underutilized as a concept. That would make for a fun whole movie, to be honest.
That's the Mr. Mind post-credit in the first one, because he's related to multiversal madness of like different, you know, like in Thor 2, all the different realms align, and it's like lots of different spheres in space or circles in space.
Yes.
That's kind of what those doors are meant to be, and a Mr. Mind thing kind of does that. And doors are definitely related to the Mr. Mind plan. The Mr. Mind plan that we never get to see.
Right.
Very, very funny. Mark Strong came back for that.
I said, I think that's hilarious. I think it would be so funny if there was more Shazam movies. We just keep cutting back to Mark Strong in that cell, and he's just getting more and more disheveled with more symbols all over the cell. And right, I just need one more thing for my plans.
And he's just messing with him to get him through his prison term.
Yeah.
That would be quite funny, and it would be easy work for Mark Strong.
Yeah, just shut up, put on a fake beard.
Yeah. Did he get a new eye, Kyle?
I was wondering that too, because he has a normal eye.
He's two normal eyes in this. I can't remember what happened to him in the last one. I knew he had something. One of his eyes was something like a stone.
Yeah, one of his eyes was like the stone that he jammed in his head. Yes.
Yeah. So what has he got? Is it a glass eye? Is that what he's got?
Maybe his normal eye grew back. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, possibly. Magic. So, Billy Bats gets Helen Mirren to... What's Helen Mirren's name again? I have it in my notes somewhere.
I can't remember.
But it's Calypso, Athena, and...
Something Greek, I know that for sure.
Well, yeah. It's somewhere in my notes, but it's just a big list of things I've got written here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it. Anyway, Helen Mirren helps Shazam to bring down the dome to a small size because the explosion of destroying the tree will destroy everything inside the dome because the dome will be able to contain the explosion.
Uh-huh.
And it's a very well lit sequence in that baseball stadium, Kyle. I will admit, when Zachary Lev's walking through it, I think he looks great. He looks really, really good. It's all well lit and well shot and everything. Mm-hmm. And he's got the staff in his hand, and it's really, really cool. And he flies into the tree and electrocutes it.
Yeah, how do you feel about the dragon?
Made of wood, it's whatever. There's a bit in the film earlier on before the sacrifice where it's about to kill Athena and Freddy, and they're just screaming at it because Freddy's very strong. Freddy can even kind of resist for a period of time Calypso's whisper powers. I
thought that was kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. And
it's
then,
like, what's he say, like Destiny's Child did it better or something like that?
Yeah, and then Shazam picks up the dragon's tail and yanks it back and says, well, that must be really annoying for you because you're a big dragon.
Uh-huh.
And then Shazam then goes, oh no, Freddy, Athena, no! And then he does like a bait and switch thing where Lucy Liu turns her head to go look at them, and then he flies up and nicks the staff out of her hand when she's not looking. Uh-huh. And the dragon is, like he says, made of wood. Interesting choice because you're a dragon, you know. I like the dragon. It's whatever. It reminds me of the big smoke demon dragon from the end of Loki season 1 because like it's using your fears to guard against the thing on the other side,
which they don't really do anything with after a while, because after a while it's just like, none of the characters are really that scared of it anymore.
Yeah, this big wooden dragon is actually fine, really. I think it stops looking wooden. It just kind of looks like a big scaly creature at one point.
I didn't realise it was made of wood until they pointed out that it was made of wood. Precisely,
yeah. It doesn't really scream, oh, look at that really cool wooden dragon. You know, I think that would actually be a really cool visual if they'd hammered down on it. I also wasn't sure at first if it was a wyvern, because I couldn't tell if it had front feet, but it does.
It does have front. It's a proper dragon.
Yeah, proper dragon.
Proper Welsh boy. We're dragon purists here.
Dragon purists here. But yeah, so no, I'm a fan of the dragon. It's basically just a way for Lucy Liu to get around quickly. That's all it is.
Yeah. She might be the most generic villain in any of these movies we've watched so far. I'm trying to think back.
Yeah, I mean, me and you spoke about it after you had watched it, but before I had rewatched it.
You forgot she was in the movie.
I forgot I said to Kyle, ladies and gentlemen, that I thought it was Helen Mirren flying around on the dragon in the third act. And Kyle says, Helen Mirren never gets on the dragon, that's Lucy Liu. I was like, oh, yeah. Because in my memory, Lucy Liu was just like the henchman. I forgot she was even like a sister. I thought she was just like literally a henchman.
And I was like, no, Nathan, she's the main villain.
She is the villain of the piece. Yeah, she is not very memorable at all, as a matter of course. I think I like this movie actually more in rewatch, to be honest with you, because I also was probably caught up in the current affairs when this film came out of, all right, okay, this is all coming to an end. What does any of this mean, you know? But sometimes, you know, a little bit of distance, a little bit of, you know, mellow, you know, turn down the heat. It's fine, you know, It's not a crazy over the top movie. I like Black Adam more, I think, which is the opposite view.
Yeah, well,
but I enjoy it well enough. You know, I don't dislike this film.
I'm staring at a nitpick that I forgot to bring up earlier, so I'm just going to do it now. They're going through the list of powers that give why it's called Shazam, right? The strength of such and such.
The wisdom of Solomon.
Wisdom of Solomon, and somehow it's a running joke that Billy can't pronounce Solomon. It's pronounced how it's spelled, Billy. It's not like Solo Man. It's actually harder to pronounce wrong. It's not like a common name, but it is a name that people have.
It is used today.
Yeah, it's just another one of those jokes that just doesn't land because it's Solomon. It's pronounced how it's spelled, Billy. Anyway, yeah, that was a nitpick.
No, it's perfectly okay. It's a reasonable nitpick to have, Kel. I agree with you. Sometimes this film is reaching for jokes.
Do you remember when Pedro sat on the couch watching baseball and he's got a game, like a Hot Meal magazine in his lap, and is like, yeah, I'm starting to see the appeal. And it's like, did you get that he's gay? Yeah. Did you figure that out?
Well, they'd done that in the first film as well when they're in the strip club and he's like, it's not for me.
This was way more blatant.
Yeah, this one way more blatant. I did get a little chuckle though, where they run into the parents' bedrooms, and they're like, we're superheroes, and at the same time, Pedro goes, "I'm gay." Like that was his big reveal.
I enjoy that too because the alternative going, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah, we know. Yeah, it's okay, buddy. Whatever. It wasn't something worth commenting on, which is, I agree.
That's okay. I like that scene, but in abstract, that's like all there is to his character in this movie, other than the joke that he has the pen do his homework for him.
I enjoy Steve doing his homework. That was a good bit.
Yeah, but like that's he doesn't do his homework and he's gay. That's Pedro.
I mean, it's the same as like Eugene as well. Both of them don't do much in this film at all. Eugene and Billy are playing a video game at the start of the movie. Kel, do you know what game that was?
It's nothing. It's no game. It's movie video game shooter number 16. This is my big pet peeve in all movies is they don't understand video games at all, and I hate it.
But usually they are playing some game. There's like a TikTok account that's dedicated to like going through movies when you see clips of people playing video games and trying to ascertain what is the video game they're playing.
I'm going to tell you that is not a game. It's like they go and there's like some soldiers tied up with C4 and then it explodes and then it says mission failed. It's the most generic looking, like, this is Call of Duty clone game I've ever seen in one of these.
That's true. I remember, I think it was Age of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're playing the Master Chief Collection.
That sounds like something, what's his face would be doing?
Fitz?
Not Fitz. Little guy, he's the voice of Remy the Rat.
Oh, Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt, yeah, he'd be playing some Halo at some point in that show.
I think there was another big show, I can't remember the name of it. They were playing Destiny 1.
Yeah.
I was like, go.
I've got two pet peeves with video games in movies and shows. One is when the game is clearly fake, like this, where it's just like a made-up game. And the other thing is when they sit with their controllers and they just do this. And they hit all the buttons and shake all the things. It's like, that's not how you play a game. They were slightly better about it in this because they weren't like just mashing all the buttons constantly, but it was still clear that they weren't playing anything. They were
by
just
the time
buttons.
The camera pans to them, they already failed the mission. They weren't doing anything. What about in Avengers Endgame, Kel, where they're playing Fortnite?
I can't remember what he's doing with the controller in that scene, so I didn't stick out.
It's Korg, so I imagine he's just literally holding it. He's unable to press any of the buttons. But he's running around. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my area of expertise, and so it's my thing that always bothers me in movies is when they're playing games.
There's your public service announcement from Enter the SnyderVerse.
There's a couple fight scenes in this movie. What do you think of them?
I did have no opinion. I found the fight in this movie to just kind of be generic superhero action.
There's something about the Shazam power set which doesn't like.
I enjoy the flying.
Make for very cinematic fight scenes.
I enjoy the lightning. It's because they are a captain every superpower.
Yeah,
that's the point.
They're not. They have super speed, super strength. They can fly and they can shoot lightning. It's it's not like it's.
But isn't it like that's what spells out Shazam? It's like all these different power sets they should have. Except
they don't, because they don't have the wisdom of Solomon. That's the joke in the movie.
No, apparently they do, according to Damon Honshu, when he's you are really smart, Billy. Actually, I did choose right. It's like wisdom isn't always something that's...
I wish G1 Honsu got a fight scene in this movie.
I think he'd have been great, actually. That would have been
doing
really
some Stafu stuff.
Yeah, that absolutely would have been terrific.
He shows up at the end looking freaking fantastic.
He is the drippiest of all drip lords. He should get a gig with the Justice Society. He'd fit right in there.
Oh, yeah.
He'd fit right in. Pierce Brosnan, Hawkman on that ship with Damon Honshu. Oh, my God. Yeah,
he's got the hat, he's got the long blue coat and the scarf.
Yeah, it's like a nice kind of powder blue. Yeah, he's looking fly, and he's shaved that beard off, and he's got a nice goatee. Yeah, and he's here just to pick up this question. He's there to pick up the staff, Kyle. Didn't Wonder Woman give him the staff after the funeral?
I guess the Shazam fam took it with them. I don't know.
For some reason.
They do use the word fam at one point in this movie.
They do. Oh, and I just had
Is fam dead now? I think fam is dead now.
I hope so.
Right?
I had flashbacks of Jodie Whittaker.
Yes, the what was it, the TARDIS fam or
whatever? The TARDIS fam, yeah. So why don't we go there, Kel? Because we were kind of leading up to it, and then we ended up kind of going back again on us a little bit. Billy sacrificed himself and he's dead, and everyone's really upset, and everyone's really sad. And then the Shazam wizard's like, he is a god, he was a god, we should honour him like a god, and we're going to bury him in the Garden of the Gods. And
I feel like he'd prefer to be buried in Philadelphia, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because that's somewhere that people can visit him and he can be real.
Also, they didn't put him in a coffin either. They just buried him in the dirt.
Or maybe they did, and then when he went from dead Billy Bats to alive Shazam,
He just
burst out of the
exploded out of
coffin.
it. Yeah, okay.
So this is probably this is my favourite scene of the film, Kel.
Is it?
But
Okay.
not really, but it's just really
right,
funny.
Good.
It's
So funny.
So they're like, yeah, well, we would love to resurrect him, but all the gods are dead, because they're all having this really nice moment in the garden. It's beautiful and it's peaceful, and then you hear a voice go, "Not all the gods," and then
It's so funny.
it's ridiculous. It is the appearance of Gal Gadot for real in this film, which apparently was added later on. The Demon Honsu.
Oh, you think she might have been on a green screen? I don't know about that. I think she was definitely in there in the scene.
Demon Honsu head swap was apparently, that was supposed to be the gag for the film, right? And Gal Gadot was not in it. There was a whole big thing. There was another actress that done the bits. And apparently it might or may not be Gal Gadot's face deep faked onto a lookalike actor. Like, she did show up for things in secondary photography. But it might actually not even be her body. There's another actor who played Wonder Woman in the film.
Yeah.
So she shows up and the Wonder Woman music plays the whole time, and it's really dramatic, like she's in the first Wonder Woman, in the trenches of the First World War. And
it's fight scene music. It's so inappropriate for the scene.
Everyone is just standing looking at her dumbfounded, like they too can hear the music. And like they're going, what are we looking at? What's happening? Like we are the Shazam family in this moment, utterly gobsmacked and dumbfounded to what on earth is about to occur. And she takes the staff from Demon Honsu and stabs it into the ground, or...
No, she holds it up to the sky and charges it with god powers.
God powers, and then all the grass grows and the tree comes back to life, and it's very visual. And now we think, okay, well, maybe Billy's back. And a hand thrusts out from the ground where little Robin's laying atop a picture of Billy and someone else. Is it Freddy?
Yeah, it's Billy and Freddy, yeah.
And I think that was quite a funny beat with like a big Zachary Levi hand plunging out through the ground. And he's like, "You buried me?" Because I think in his perception of time, he didn't die. He thinks that he just passed out and then was buried. Like, he's in his mind when he woke up, he's like, "I'm underground in the baseball stadium," you know? And yeah, like, I'm joking about him having a coffin that he burst out of. It looks like they didn't actually bury him. Or like his funeral wrappings when Shazammed away are now in some... Like when he turns back into Billy later on, he's going to
be in a coffin.
He's going to be in a coffin. Yeah. A big brick falls over in the living room. Yeah, so he wakes up and he's like, "Oh my god, it's you, it's Wonder Woman." And Gal Gadot, it's like, "Yes, hello Billy, you've been a true god and all that, you're really good." It's quite a level up for Shazam, actually. It's like when Spider-Man gets to join the Avengers. Well, that's the big leagues.
I think Shazam is sometimes on the Justice League.
In the context of this continuity, though, he isn't, you know?
No. He keeps hitting on Wonder Woman, and they do a joke about their kids and older women, because, yes, Freddy does end up with the 6,000-year-old god.
Yes, Dina.
You keep saying Thena, it's Athea.
I thought it was Anthea.
It's Anthea, yes. You keep saying Thena.
I thought I was saying Thea. I thought I was saying Thea. I thought I'm saying Thea.
Well, her name, they call her Anne, so...
I thought they called her Thea.
I mean, when she's disguised in the school, she calls herself Anne.
Yes, because Thea is a bit too exotic for a school kid. But I thought when she's in superpower mode, they call her Thea. And like Anthea is like her two sides coming together. Maybe I've just misheard it. I'm sure they call her just Thea. Thea.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. We're at the end of the movie.
You know what? It's easier for our accents to say Thea than it is for Anne. So
okay,
it's fine.
Yeah, exactly right. And because I'm definitely not saying.
Like whenever I have to say the name Carl, you ever meet anyone called Carl? It's the worst to say with a Scottish accent,
especially with my mother's name.
Yeah, because Carol is the name. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Very strange when we do it in those back-to-back contexts of voices and names and accents. So
yes.
He's like, "Hey, maybe we could go out sometime. I'm going to be 18 in a few months." And she's walking away. She's like, "Stick to saving the world, Billy Bats." And she walks out the same way she enters the scene and goes down the other set of stairs.
She walks out the DCEU. That's the last time we see her, I assume.
Oh no.
Oh no, is she back? Is she in the Flash?
We're not talking about it.
Okay.
But I just find this so funny that she comes in a static camera shot of an archway in a cemetery. Bombastic music plays. She comes in, she resurrects Billy, and then we return to that same fixed camera shot of the archway exiting the cemetery, and she just walks out of it again. The music stops, and I don't quite know how to put it into language, into words and sentences. But in terms of visual comedy, I just find it so funny that she comes in, she resurrects Billy, she leaves.
I can't tell if this is supposed to be a joke or not.
I don't think it is, because Zachary Levi was very honoured and happy that they were able to get Gal to do this. I remember that they were just very grateful that she would want to be part of their little movie, because I think at this point, like, she's under no obligation to do anything.
I assume Gal Gadot likes being Wonder Woman.
I think she does, and I presume that she does. You know, good for her for doing it. It's just very funny. I kind of wish, because again, at this point, you could have switched anything around in post-production. You knew that this was all ending. Maybe killing him would actually be quite a bold creative choice, you know?
They're not going to kill a kid in a movie, Nathan.
It's Zachary Levi, Kyle. You don't need to linger on that. The dead body can be of Zachary Levi if you like.
That's not how it works.
It could be. We've never seen a dead Shazam, Kyle, have you?
Yes, in this movie.
When
he dies in the movie.
But prior to that, they could have just made it Zachary Levi. I suppose we see Shazam, Black Adam's kid dead. No, because he'd given his powers to The Rock at that point.
Yeah, he'd given his powers up. Yeah.
So yeah, we've never seen it. Maybe if you die in Shazam form, you stay in Shazam form.
But he doesn't, because we see it in this movie, and he's Billy.
Oh yes, but I'm telling you, if you wanted to commit to keeping him dead, Kyle, and you say you don't want to show a dead kid, that's fine. You can film it the same way.
There was never a universe where he was going to stay dead.
But it's the end of they could have went back in and changed it when James Gunn said, "Oh yeah, this is over," you know.
It's not that kind of movie.
It's not that kind of movie. I know. I just think it would have been bold of them. However, part of my tinfoil hat reasoning, Kyle, for why they didn't do that. Now, this isn't why they didn't do it, right? But this is a tinfoil reason for why they didn't do it. Is that they knew this film was tracking to have an awful opening weekend, and they got quite desperate, Kyle. And the weekend this movie came out, I think actually just slightly before the movie came out, in TV spots for this movie, Kyle, they started showing Wonder Woman was in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just that scene at the cemetery, at the tree. And it's not the full scene, obviously, it's just a shot of her there. But it's like, oh, yeah, okay, we're going to sell this movie on Wonder Woman's here. That's a bit misleading. And it just reeked of desperation.
Yeah, it's like that last trailer for the Marvels where they show all the Avengers in it. It's like, oh god, you guys, what are you doing? Yeah, so they're really, really desperate for this movie to sell. Because a marketing team's job is to get bums in seats, Kyle. That's what their job is. And sometimes they will even go to stretching the integrity of their mission statement in order to get people to go see the project. Because I would argue that selling the movie on an appearance of Gal Gadot is stretching the credibility of your marketing campaign at this point. I would say so.
I would say so as well. And it's the same as, and you know, it's, you always just got to keep, like we've spoke a lot about Halo 5's marketing campaign recently for, watch Kyle's video for more than that.
One of the worst in history, I think it's fair to say. Okay. Like a good marketing campaign, but a terrible decision.
Yeah, but you can see where like the marketing campaign almost is like a different head and mind of what the actual product is.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I felt they were doing at the end of this movie's marketing run. They were just trying to do whatever they could do that wasn't blatant false advertisement to get you to go see it. So we've
but it didn't work.
It didn't work, Kyle. It did not work. The DC.
I was going to say, you know, you're about to transition there. I'm going to say, you know, who should have been in the marketing hardcore and economist from Peacemaker.
That's a better transition than I could have done. Yeah, you're right, absolutely, Kyle, because they are equal parts as important to this movie as
James
Wonder
Gunn
Woman
back at it again, sticking his wife in everything. This film that Peter Safran produced, James Gunn putting his wife in everything, isn't it? And the actor who plays John Economos, whose name I forget. Yes. I will say, this makes more sense for hardcore than her appearance in Black Adam.
Yeah. because this feels like more of a follow-up from Peacemaker.
Which is so weird in Shazam.
Yeah, but in Black Adam, she's in like a black site prison that maybe would fit the 2016 Suicide Squad movie, like in the black leather. But it doesn't really fit the James Gunn film.
No.
Or maybe it could if you didn't do the Peacemaker show, if you just jumped from there to there. You could say this is part of a reassignment. But then when the show Peacemaker makes it into an actual character, it's a bit weird.
Yes. But here, it really does feel like a scene straight out of Peacemaker with slightly less swearing.
Yeah, it does. It's shot in like some Canadian town, doubling as like a middle America city.
Yeah.
Or town.
They're just talking about like their shoes or whatever.
Yeah. Now, what I would say about that though is, even though it feels like it's from Peacemaker, their discussion and mission, the reason for being with Shazam, is to recruit him to something that was explicitly introduced in Black Adam.
Yes, the Justice Society.
Justice Society. So
which apparently is an Amanda Waller project.
It all does tie together. It's good to diversify your product portfolio, Kel. You know,
I guess so.
She's the black site superheroes that no one needs to know about, and she's the public-facing ones that everyone can love.
Sure.
And then the Justice League are under the reign of Bruce Wayne, and so they're not under any government authorization. They're they're the Captain America team, and the Justice Society are the Iron Man team. You know. Yeah, it's like this is a weird hybrid of Peacemaker and Black Adam continuity. Not to say that they contradict each other, but it is like a culmination of both, because it's like visually a Peacemaker continuation, but topically it's a Black Adam continuation. And Shazam has a list of alternate superhero team names.
He sure does.
Want to tell us a few?
I can't remember. I mean, I only remember one, Nathan, the big one.
What one was that? Tell me.
That is, of course, the Avenger Society.
Which
he likes for some reason.
I would watch that. I like that for some reason too. I remember that getting a little smirk from me in the cinema. I was like, we're going to call you Captain Marvel and call it the Avenger Society. Okay, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I did have a feeling when Harcourt and an Economist showed up in this of like, no, take me with you. I like you guys. Come on. Be in more of this movie, why don't you?
And then, as previously mentioned, we have Mark Strong in a cage speaking to Mr. Mind, and
love it.
Mr. Mind forgot something and must go away to get it and leave him for another film.
It takes him a long time to get places.
It was almost like a visual way of saying, I know we didn't follow up on this in this movie, but we're going to get round to it, you know? Don't worry, we haven't forgot about it. Because I do think
again, I would love it if they never follow up on it, if it just becomes a running joke.
I mean, well, as we know, they certainly aren't going to follow up on it now, but I think if this universe had continued, which hinged on Black Adam's success that didn't happen, I think a third Shazam would have actually followed up on this plot thread finally. Even if it was, you know, nothing, it was an awful movie. I think this would have been the time where they went for it.
I just want the post-credit scene of Superman to be Mark Strong in a cage, and Mr. Rain comes in and says, the universe is collapsed, but I still have plans for you.
It's like we're in like Apocalypse Nightmare timeline zone from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's still Mark Strong in a cage.
Yeah, outside the window it's just like the apocalypse now.
And Mr. Mind's like, I have a plan, don't worry. Voiced by David F. Sandberg, the director, I believe.
Yes it is.
Okay, Kyle, well, is that us?
I think that's us. I think that is Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Okie doke. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of Enter the SnyderVerse. Kyle, where can they find you online?
People can, of course, find me at Kyle the Scott on YouTube. I have no project in development at the second because I just put out a video yesterday. But
you're having your downtime.
I'm having my post-video depression, which is a thing. So, but I'll get over it. Don't worry.
You'll get over it. Okay, Kyle, happy to hear it. And as always, you can always find me at Nathan Tinney anywhere online. Don't worry about Hive.
I worry about Hive every day.
Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Twitter, you know, wherever you need me, that's where I'll be posting all our good joys. I also run our Twitter account at Enter the DCEU. Come give us some love over there. And what are we watching next week, Kyle?
Well, next week I'll be honest, I've been kind of dreading next week. Because next week we're doing The Flash.
Oh, good fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you can tune in for that. Thank you very much, and you can see us next week for The Flash.